I'm not sure how I feel about being introduced as the first of the perspiration talks. I'm not sure. I thought my life's work was inspiring, but after hearing the first set of Move talks, I'm inspired, Trey. I'm pumped up. I'm more excited. I've been excited for months about the next 2 days, but I'm even more excited now after hearing you guys. And I'm also incredibly humbled to be up here and have the opportunity to speak in front of you because I'm representing the work of many people in this room who are on our team and the people that inspire me every day. So I'm representing them through this talk. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about some design thinking experience that I've been a part of, we've been a part of, and then I'm going to give you some tips on avoiding some of the pitfalls of design thinking. So you're going to learn a lot about design thinking. You're going to leave here a design thinking Jedi, but you need to know some things, and hopefully you can learn from some of our experience. So for the past 2 years, myself and several of our team have been very blessed and very fortunate to have been a part of the Atlanta K-12 Design Thinking Challenge. And this was a partnership of about 5 independent schools in Atlanta and 5 public schools. And I grew up in public school. I taught in public school for about a decade before moving into independent schools. And I love the fact that we partner together. And we partner together to bring design thinking into the schools in Atlanta. And this was made possible through a grant through the Dobbs Foundation and a lot of hard work from a lot of people who set this up. So at Mount Vernon, we have a great challenge, and that is that for the last several years, we've been growing. People want to come here. It's very exciting. But it creates a challenge that we have to design for, and that challenge is a lack of space. We're running out of space. And so we began to think about how we were going to design some new spaces. And our first big, wild, crazy idea was a treehouse. We wanted to put a treehouse out here in the woods, just behind this building, and we were going to call treehouse masters and convince them that they should come and build this for us. And it was going to be a big design thinking lab in the trees. It was going to be an Ewok village of design thinking, okay? But then we learned about permits and laws and Sandy Springs city stuff, and we're like, okay, so we pivoted our idea to this. We wanted to put our design thinking learning lab on wheels. Then we could go wherever we wanted. We wouldn't be stuck in the woods. We could go to Stone Mountain. We could go anywhere we wanted to and pull out all of our Z-racks and design thinking markers and Post-it notes and learn anywhere. But then we remembered, our ideas are so great. But we're not solving for us, we're solving for our users. That's a key part of design thinking. And so we're like, well, maybe we should talk to the students. Maybe we should ask the students what they need. What are their needs? And so we met we already knew them, but we met 2 Mount Vernon students, William and Jackie, and we were amazed to discover that their needs were way simpler than our big crazy ideas. They weren't interested in a tour bus or a treehouse. They were just really wanting a more comfortable chair. Or, a little more color in the room. Or they wanted their backpacks. They wanted some freedom. They just wanted some choice. So we got several interviews and we got armed with our users' insight, solving for them, solving for right here and now, for their needs. And we got started. We cleared out some space. We got rid of some of these old traditional, rows of desks. We all sat in rows, and we got rid of those. And we started working. So we started with low res, free, cheap on a dime. We tried simple things like, hey, just open the blinds. Teachers, open the blinds, let the natural light in. Remove one big piece of furniture just to try to free up a little space. We bought camping chairs and tents. We encouraged people to go outside and just see how that worked. And we did all kinds of things. We also did some faculty learning about space configuration and how you can rearrange seating and how that impacts students in the mode that they're in as learners. And we went to visit First Data. First Data is a Fortune 500 company right here in Sandy Springs, just a couple miles down the road. And they're responsible for something like every second there's like 3,000 credit card swipes that happen all around the world, and they're responsible for the innovative technology behind that. And what I love is that when we went there, our students were able to see that the design thinking that we've been teaching them and using at school is the very same process that this very innovative Fortune 500 company uses. They use design thinking. And so what's happening in school matches what happens in the real world. And that was very powerful. So we went through the process and we came up with a couple of prototypes of different types of rooms. So we had kind of a coffee house style room, sort of trying to have some nice big comfortable chairs and a lot of space and some tables, make it feel like Starbucks. And then we also had sort of another design, first data design thinking kind of a space with lots of colors, and then we moved different furniture in different configurations, and we were really proud, and we felt like it was great. But the thing is that design thinking, human-centered problem solving is messy. And sometimes there are pitfalls and things you have to know. I'd like to say that everything was perfect, but it wasn't perfect. We began to hear from different people about things that, well, they didn't like this or they didn't like that. So the work is ongoing. So I want to give you just a couple of tips, 4 specific things, 4 specific pitfalls to keep in mind as you embrace and become a Jedi Knight of design thinking. So the first one is this: be mindful of the whole ecosystem, right? You're solving for a user, a specific person, or a specific need. However, what we learned is we were solving for students, and while the students got nice new couches and chairs and stuff, we created a problem for the teachers because the kids' behavior changed. And so they began to act a little wild. And some of the teachers actually went out to that pile of desks and were trying to pull some of them back in to the building. And you've got to think about that. Another example where this one solution is created and that creates another problem is right here in the bathrooms. If you've been to the bathroom yet and washed your hands, and I hope you will, this is a great solution. This thing on the right, it saves wasted paper. It's quicker. If you ever splash water on your pants, that'll work. You should try that. However, it creates another problem, particularly at a school where you have young ears. These things are loud. My children have gone in and been scared at public restaurants and places with these things, and they are about 90 decibels. And I don't know if you know this, but at 100 decibels, serious hearing damage can occur, and it's equivalent to a jet taking off or a jackhammer. So that's an example of just being mindful of solving one problem, but maybe causing another problem. The second tip is to carry your ideas to completion. So there's a lot of things about our project that were great, but we're still iterating. We actually are ordering different pieces of furniture now. They're totally different. And we're trying things that raise and have hooks for backpacks and that can be configured in groups and individuals and on and on. But making an impact may require more than just launched prototypes. So you can't carry every idea through, but at least carry the best ones through. This is an example of a prototype that I don't think was completed. You can see the headgear from a long time ago. It doesn't look that different now. Someone needs to work on that. Third, deviate from the recipe. So what you seek is more elusive than a linear step-by-step process. Creativity can't just be, it can be, but it's a little more elusive than that. And so don't be afraid as you learn the deep process as one approach to design thinking. Don't be afraid to break the rules. Rules are made to be broken. And the fourth one is this: don't neglect vision. Right? So you got to balance the opportunities of user insights with leaders' foresight. Okay? So when you're focused on a user, you're focused on right now, and you might need to anticipate the future a little bit. I'll give you an example. I'm a native Atlantan. I wish the people who designed the streets in Atlanta 50 years ago, or whatever, however it happened, I wish they would have thought 50 years into the future, because traffic is terrible, and now it's too late to do much about it. I don't know if you've heard in China of the ghost cities. Have you heard of the ghost cities in China? So there are all these cities that they've built that no one lives in, and I think it's because they're preparing for their children to have, because their population is growing so fast. but there's foresight there. Here's an example. This is I think it's called the Walkie-Talkie Building in London. And it's a beautiful piece of architecture, but they didn't have the foresight to realize that at the angle that the sun hits this building, it actually creates like a magnifying glass effect on the ground, and it burns the grass and the people, and it's really uncomfortable. So somebody should have thought about that. And here's an example that you probably are familiar with, which is the Titanic. I was amazed to learn that the bulkheads, they didn't build them all the way up so that they were watertight, so the water could go over the top. I mean, why not seal that off so that, it goes into one compartment or two compartments, but then it seals off? I don't know if it was because they were trying to save money. I don't know if because they just thought that it wouldn't happen. You've also heard they didn't have enough lifeboats. This is a great example of a design that didn't take into account maybe the full vision of what could happen in the future. And that's important to know that, sometimes in design thinking, the stakes are high. And sometimes your designs may just be for something that's not a big deal, but other times it's for people's lives, and it can impact their lives. So balance the right now needs of the user, but don't neglect your own intuition and your own vision as a leader. Otherwise, something terrible could happen. So again, to recap, to avoid the pitfalls of design thinking, be mindful of the whole ecosystem, carry your best ideas to completion, deviate from the recipe, and don't neglect vision. And I'll leave you with this. This is a proverb, is that where there is no vision, the people perish. Thank you.